Hello everyone. Today we begin with Baris Baktas at a very specific turning point, the moment when Kensisekleri stopped being only the project that made him recognizable and became the project he had to survive beyond. After 434 episodes, the series reached its final episode on January 17, 2025. And Kanal 7's own episode page framed the third season around Baran and Dylan's devastating search for their lost son Miran after a car accident, which means Baris ended the show not with simple romantic closure, but with a storyline built around grief, paternal desperation, and emotional exhaustion. That matters because an actor leaving such a long emotional arc does not simply leave a role. He leaves a rhythm of performance that trained the audience to read his face, silence, anger, and restraint as part of one specific identity. Yagmur Yüksel's ending inside the same final stretch was equally heavy, but it worked differently. Dylan's refusal to accept Miran's disappearance gave Yagmur material based on denial, hope, maternal instinct, and the refusal to collapse even when the world around the character had already accepted tragedy. This is why many viewers did not read the final season as ordinary melodrama. They read it as an endurance test for Dylan, and that reaction is visible even in international comments under the final episode page, where fans specifically thanked Baris and Yagmur for carrying a story filled with pain, tragedy, and love across hundreds of episodes. For Baris, the real career question after that finale was whether the audience could accept him in a role where he was not barren, not the husband trapped between family duty and love, and not the father broken by loss. His move into Kuduz Fatihi, Selahadin Ayubi, gave him exactly that test, because Bora was visually and dramatically distant from the polished emotional world of Kensisekleri. Reports around his transformation, including the long hair extension process for the historical role, made the shift feel almost ritualistic, as if the actor had to physically erase Baran before viewers could begin seeing another man on screen. For Yagmur, the immediate post-finale question was less about visual transformation and more about expectation. Her LOM My interview, published shortly before and around the end of Kensisekleri, presented her as an actress fully aware that Dylan had arrived very early in her career and that she was still at the beginning of learning the craft. She also described acting as a dream she had carried even while studying and working in healthcare, which adds a different emotional layer to the fan conversation. Audiences are not only watching a performer after a hit role. They are watching someone who entered the industry from a completely different life path and now has to prove that the first success was not accidental. So the end of Kensisekleri created two parallel but unequal pressures. Baris had to break the image of Baran without losing the intensity that made viewers follow him, while Yagmur had to protect the emotional credibility of Dylan without allowing that role to become the ceiling of her career. And perhaps that is why fans still debate them so fiercely, not because the finale ended everything, but because it opened the more difficult question of who they could become after the roles that made people care.